Hey everybody, going to do a flip through of this genuine junk mail journal I've done for my dad. He, of course, for years goes through junk mail, and this is a known family thing, so he'll have like all of these envelopes, so I saved a bunch of mine just to cover them. And here we go. I've done some previous videos, but now we're going to do how I've covered them using, different papers, even patched papers together, how I've highlighted his life through it to create like mementos that he can pull out and see from, even his family. I think I showed you guys before. He had ridden a horse to school, and he tells that story sometimes to all of us. So I put in a note card so he can write out that story or another memory. Uh, you know, family photos like when I was little, and then how he inspired me to run. So paying homage to him and thanking him when I got into the university paper for running. So I wanted to make sure that I thanked him. I've done various pockets like this, and sometime I want to show you guys how I do them. I use a lot of tearing and then inking up, and I tear with a straight ruler. I just lay it down flat and tear. That's your quickest way, and it looks vintage and cool. Made envelopes like this, just like I did for this journal. For Nate, he's a racing fan, so his envelope, you can kind of see it squished in there, is the checkered flag paper from Hobby Lobby, but it's a self-closing envelope that I made, and it has this little thing that kind of looks like the pop-up cards I'd make for the girls to do pop-up puppets with paper, where it's a beak, for the girls when they were little and I was homeschooling. But anyhow, just threw in, what I love about it is you get a little pocket here where I put a little message to him, like hidden little messages, a little pocket here inside, and I cut these out, and then a little pocket here and also underneath, and just put in little pictures like this. There's another one of my sister and brother when we were younger in here. And then I'll come back through and put this in better. But the great thing is some people will make little closures, which are great too, but I didn't have to make anything separate. This is just built into the way I folded the paper, and I love that. So my dad did put on a uniform for many years. He drove for a general in the Army, and this would have been in Albuquerque. And I took the framed photo I have of him on my wall, and I resized it in my copy machine and vintaged it up. But look how great he looks in his uniform. And then he put on a uniform for many years on the SWAT team for a national laboratory. So I put those mementos in here. Mementos with my brother that I've featured some reports in, done some reports with him. He's fun. We built R2D2 together, and those are on my home channel. But here's my dad. Here's mementos from him running Boston. I've always had these in my scrapbook. We went to Boston when I was in high school. He had a goal, and he lived his dream, and so I made some notes on some of the photos. This was on the back of a postcard. I had gone to a CVS, and there's a family photo of me holding that bag. And of course, what inspired me the most is what I still use in my reports, the lantern from the Paul Revere and the Midnight Riders, the Minutemen, and 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, and there's usually a lantern in most of my reports. But I made sure that I put even the statue. This has been in my scrapbook, so I made a copy of it, of Paul Revere, and then wrote notes as reminders of that trip. This was one of the most iconic trips for me. Some people, in the family used to make comments about all the running, but honestly, the running was hard work, but it was a blast. My dad inspired me to run a marathon because he was training for marathons, and I ran one at 14 and then continued on into college. So I made notes to him about how he had inspired me, just as a reminder, and even put my number in there, which was sort of showing God's hand of providence, because we had our NCAA conference in a state where I ended up living. It was, I don't know, it's interesting how things move together. And here's the back where I made, he's always, my mom calls him her cowboy. So I put, again, a smaller photo so that it would fit in this pocket that says cowboy. Had to break it up. I probably told you guys about this before. I made little pockets. All I've been using is this. I do have some double-sided tape that I got from the Dollar Tree, and it's name brand, but it was not pleasant to use. I've heard that it doesn't always stay double-sided tapes for people, so I just used a process that has worked for me before when I made my mom a journal. All right, so what I'm going to do is, I love these little flaps, by the way. The one I made in Nate's, I actually glued down the sides of these for true pockets, but I love how this kind of, you can insert it and it just sort of slides out. Have a picture of my mom when she was younger, and they had, not long after they'd met in Albuquerque, and then she had written on the back of a large photo, so I resized it, archived it the way I do with my inks, by tearing and inking, and I had to darken her, that's her actual writing, so I love that. And yeah, so you guys get the idea. There he is. He was on SWAT team for years, and this was a few years before there was a fire there where they lived that was on the news, and they actually interviewed my parents in there. We have the footage archived away, of course, everything archived away. So yeah, I wanted to create spaces like this for him to also write. And then inside of here, by the way, I had to put this in for some of my iconic articles and numbers from running. So there's documentation. I forgot to put my coach's letter in there, so I'll probably add that. But here's the original from the junk mail envelope that I made look old-timey and archivy without having to burn it. I used to burn things with a match, to get them to, and when I was growing up in the country where I loved, we used to burn our trash in a barrel, so I, of course, and then I still do the torch, so I, of course, love the fire. We have a fire pit and everything. But here's some of his articles in here. Police chief sets goals. He wore the uniform as a police chief, so I've told him in here, thank you for being a protector. So I'll clip that in when I'm done. So there you go. That is on the other side of the junk mail envelope, and then I patchworked my pieces from tearing the papers for all of these others. That's why you save all of your scraps. That's my dad and I have this fascination with, seems like you could do more with trash. So I try to conserve and save what I can, and patchworked those onto this one, and then found a paper that says going places, which I thought was cool, and I inserted it so that you could see it through the window, and then everything I put in is on, obviously, the other side of that paper, so you still see that cool paper. And I'll be doing the same with these iconic memory verses that I keep reminding everyone of. Behold, this is from my Bible, by the way, that my dad picked out for me when he was in Bible college, and he got me a cover, so you can even see the cover. See, I opened it up, put it on my printer. I didn't even resize this one, but this is from Luke 10, and there it is. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. And this is what we're trying to remind humanity, that you have a God-given power, that none of these things that are going on in this realm need to topple you. And they want us to forget we have that power. And then this is for a book. I'm giving him the Apocrypha, and it mentions one of the books. Also, he bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Jasher. And I refer to that book when I use my bow, when I've trained with it. And I also use a slingshot. So that's on my home channel, the work on that, and how Nate had built me a target box. So going to finish getting these folded up and into this journal. And we'll come back sometime so that I can show you Nate's. I love Nate's binding. This is all made from envelopes, clearly not junk mail envelopes, regular envelopes. Nathan used to be affiliated with an organization, so I still want to cover an envelope that is connected to, saving some animals and put that in here. So there's that tab, and I love it. And my daughter was happy. There's mementos of my daughters in here, obviously, through the years for Father's Day, but she was all happy that I had used different, like a dark shade of green, and then this lighter shade of green, and then I also used the craft colors, the brownish, that were saved from my daughter's thank you cards, you know, that we sent out after her graduation open house. And all of these envelopes, by the way, you can pick up at Hobby Lobby, and I got them 40% off. And they all fit together nicely, as you see, and this tab binding just looks awesome. And it's sort of like weaving them in, and it's not difficult, so I'll try to do a vid on that sometime. And anyhow, yeah, Hobby Lobby, awesome. You can pick out, they have so many different colors, and the packs are reasonable so that you can create things for your family and friends. All right, I better let you guys go. Going to go ahead and put some things behind this where this will still show for the cowboy theme, the coordinating papers. And I think I can fit those Bible verses and my other running paraphernalia in. Take care, guys.